Meanwhile, the Senate will be reconvening in less than an hour, and the topic of discussion, the U.S. debt ceiling. After weeks of arguing between Republicans and Democrats, it appears that the Senate is one step closer to avoiding economic chaos. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says that he will allow Democrats to pass a short-term emergency extension that would cover spending levels until December. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer suggests the Democrats will likely accept the proposal. This would avoid a default on October 18th. So, Ed O'Keefe is joining us now from just outside of the White House to dig a little deeper into this. Ed, when we were talking earlier during the 7 o'clock hour, I said, this conversation feels like Groundhog Day, that we're kind of always asking you the same questions and you only have the same answers to give us, but not today. We actually have some news being made. How likely is the agreement on the debt limit? How likely is it that they will reach this agreement today?
Well, we'll see. All signs point to them getting to an agreement that would allow the debt limit to be extended through early December. As we've said, insert your analogy. Kick the can down the road, hit the snooze button, put it off as long as you can, crash on your homework assignment the night before it's due. All of that applies in this case, and they just got themselves an extension of up to 2 months or so, meaning that the early holiday season is set to be chaotic here in Washington yet again. This deal came the proposal came from Republican leader Mitch McConnell yesterday, just as the Senate was preparing for yet another standoff over whether or not to raise the debt limit, saying, we'll get out of the way, we'll allow you to do this short-term thing through December so that you have to come back then and raise it over an extended period of time. It puts off the chaos and the potential plunge in the markets and utter instability that the Treasury Department warned about ahead of October 18th, when they say the borrowing limit is set to be exhausted. But what it does for long-term, debt limit, what it does for long-term cooperation between the parties, what it does to settle the concerns that this isn't exactly the way to be raising the nation's borrowing limit every few years or every few months or so. So we'll see. Part of what's holding it up this morning is trying to get a handle on exactly how much the debt would have to be raised between October 18th and early December, and the sensitivities to putting any kind of finite number on it, because inevitably there are going to be Republicans who take this and say, Democrats just approved XXX billions or trillions in debt increases to pay for everything else they're trying to do. And that's also what this is designed to do, slow down and prolong the debate over the Build Back Better plan that the president is trying to enact, slow down and prolong passage of that popular bipartisan infrastructure plan. The longer it takes to get them passed, the longer it takes for that money to get out into the American economy, which means it may not be hitting things at just the right time next fall, when Democrats want to be able to say, look at that new federal spending we approved for you last year. It's happening. Re-elect us to Congress. So a lot of games being played. Inevitably, we're going to get this thing sorted out, but we'll have this argument again in December.
So, Ed, as you know, and as you've reported, the standoff between Senate Republicans and Democrats has been going on for weeks. It's been some 80 times that Democrats and Republicans have raised that debt ceiling since the 1960s. Explain what you're hearing about, and I think sometimes our viewers, and because people have lives that they lead and they may not be following this very closely, explain why Mitch McConnell is blinking now, so to speak, and for people who may wonder, well, I don't understand. The Democrats control the Senate. They have the tie-breaking vote. Why can't they just get this done on their own? Why do they need Republicans to do that? For people who may not be savvy on those details, break that down.
Let's remind people, because they're also probably hearing, why is it that Democrats need to get permission from Republicans to do something when they're in charge of the Senate? And that's because it is a body built entirely on consent. All 100 members have to agree to do something. They have to agree to convene at 10 a.m. They have to agree to allow the committees to meet between the hours of 10 and 2. They have to agree on when to take a lunch break. And if just one member says, nope, I object, well, the whole thing gets held up. And so in the case of legislation, and in this case the debt limit increase, you got to get consent, which requires 60 votes. If you want to be one of those that stands in the way of giving consent, you are, in essence, throwing up a filibuster and blocking that legislation. And that is, of course, at the root of all the debate over the future of the Senate and how exactly it should be run. So you got to get cooperation. That's why the Senate was established, because it was designed to force the parties to debate issues, maybe at a slower pace than the House, and ensure that everything was happening in a way that everybody could agree to. He may not ultimately agree to pass this piece of legislation or confirm this nominee, but you know what? This is the Senate. We debate things and go ahead. You want to do that? Fine. I'm going to vote against it. So why is McConnell finally backing off? Well, all that red light flashing stuff that the Treasury Department and the White House had done in recent days seemed to be catching up to them. And they understood that there was a real potential that Republicans would be blamed for causing the nation to fall over its debt limit cliff, failing to make its payments, holding up Social Security payments for the first time since the program was established in 1935, because all of these things were possible if the debt limit was not increased in time. But again, in some ways, politically, McConnell may be winning here because he's just prolonging the inevitable and pushing it further into this year, closer to next year, and closer to next year's elections.
But wait, Ed, you didn't feel that? Did you think that perhaps he was worried that the talk about ending the filibuster for this specific issue was gaining some real traction? You heard President Biden sort of throw a little weight on it this week, which I hadn't, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I hadn't really heard President Biden saying, well, maybe it is time that we get rid of the filibuster.
No, on all of those points you are correct, exactly. There was concern that the talk of doing this was getting real. And what McConnell has said throughout this year is, I'm working to avoid that from happening, because if the filibuster goes away during a Democratic-controlled Senate, he claims all of these big spending, socialist, big government Democratic programs would be enacted, and that would be a danger to the country. He also reminds Democrats, if you lose control of the Senate, the shoe will be on the other foot. We'll do this to you one day and enact Republican-backed or conservative proposals or confirm a bunch of conservative nominees. But he doesn't want to see that happen. He's trying to preserve the integrity of the institution, which, as we said, works slowly and through consent. Otherwise, it's just a glorified, smaller version of the House, and most senators don't want to see that happen. So yes, all of those reasons. And you were right. The president suggesting the other night, in a bit of frustration, that maybe it was time to really start thinking about that, was the first time he'd done it, and was a signal of how serious now he understands the brinksmanship to be by possibly putting the nation's economy at risk.
Really, really fascinating. Ed O'Keefe for us, as always, my friend. Thank you very much.
Take care.